Hello, everyone. I watch Starfleet Academy, and I am dazed and confused. Why am I dazed and confused? It just can't pull itself out of what it's gotten itself into. Might as well just top it off with just bad writing to make you dazed and confused. And, well, the writing is the linchpin. But this was better than the last 5 episodes. I tried to review this earlier, but I couldn't really do it because I was sounding like I was triggered, being an old Star Trek head. And I looked at a lot of people's reviews, and they are, might as well say they're triggered. People that hated are triggered. The people that loved it, not loved it, but the people that watched it are triggered. And so I thought that the villain in it, Paul Giamatti, playing Nus Braa, I guess that's how you say it. And so he was, he's a good actor, but, you can't act as good as you can if you're getting a bad script. And so they had him saying all kind of things. You think that he was Jack Nicholson as the Joker. They gave him those kind of lines. And I reviewed it twice. I made 2 videos. The other one I wasn't happy with. Because I was sounding like a lunatic. So you have to watch that with these things with Star Trek. Paramount should feel proud that so many people feel so invigorated to diss this show. They wanted more. They wanted to bury the old Star Trek heads and bring in the new ones. But the new ones can't match the loyalty of the old ones. And you can't insult them by giving them childlike behavior. When Star Trek first aired, it was not a show aimed at children. It was aimed at people with an imagination and a like for science fiction, not just the glitz and glory of seeing futuristic things. They got us for the storylines and the fun of it. They've gone past fun on the Academy, Starfleet Academy. And they spent $10 million a show for this, or more, because I think a lot of it went into some people's pockets. So the villain Paul Giamatti is okay. But if he had been written with better lines, it would have been better. This is a better episode than the 5, but it's still not good. The good thing is they had Sam under control, and we didn't have to deal with her giggling, laughing, looking basically like a 5-year-old child, which she's only 3 or 4 months old, but still, we didn't have to see that. It was like they had her under control. And so this is the first one I did, but this is the second one, and it starts off with a love-making session between Caleb and Tamara. I guess tomorrow. And at first I thought she was dreaming of tribbles, for trouble with tribbles, but it was a dream of within a field of flowers that look like tribbles. And that's when they were making love. It was a love session that was unneeded, but in Star Trek they would have just done it and showed them coming out of the bed or something. They wanted to us to wallow it and get into their mind, and it was just unnecessary. 15 minutes. I mean, if you're not going to make a sex scene any better than that, you just shouldn't have done it. But I don't know. Maybe they couldn't find another way of it, because this scene does move into a big part of the show, because she has, I guess a better way to say it, ESP, psychic powers. And she could see things. She could see into his mind, and he could see into her mind. And then on that, Holly Hunter was in control more. She didn't get a chance to lounge as much, but she was sitting a lot. And they had a cadet that was on the earlier episodes that ate a comm badge by accident. I don't know what this young lady is supposed to be, but she's a cadet. And then she had a confidence attack. She just lost it. And, you know, they're supposed to be in there the best of the best, but she's having a mental breakdown. And I just really realized what the captain's name is. I've just been so upset with her moving around in those sofas and chairs and couches that I never did really learn her name. I just called her Holly Hunter or the captain. But her name is Nala Aki, because they said it a lot. Paul Giamatti. So I finally got what her name was. And then they started off the show with this creepy little song talking. I guess they were trying to get the kids with no GPS, no ETA. And the editors must have been just high as a kite when they were doing this. Just put this in. The kids will love it. And the only kids, on my reviews, the only kids I saw liking it was this. It was two of them. One was a young person, had to be anywhere from 18 to, I say, give them 27 maybe. They didn't know anything about Star Trek, at least life-wise. They didn't seem to, but they just loved it. And they had all these perfect little reviews of it, thought this was great. They were waiting on that. One of them was so happy about Paul Giamatti, and Paul Giamatti is good, but this is not for him. They gave him a design on his head that looks like he's wearing a bowl. It cuts into his, it's like if I had a line in front of my head and it goes all the way to the back. And well, kind of got a line there now. But anyway, it was bald, and it just looked odd. So they fought the Furies. The Furies were, that's what I said, they were man-eaters. They would eat you up. And of course, on this one, they did fall back on the Star Trek of having a person that you'd never seen before get killed, and this man was eaten. He was the leader of the group that went over to the starship that they were training on and got caught on by the Furies. Now, you probably already heard about that, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but basically they do eat people. And so, what else did I write for the new one here? I just felt like it was just a failure in the characterizations, and it was bad writing, but it was good to see some good old-fashioned Star Wars spaceships fighting. They did that okay. So, but otherwise, it was all question marks. And the big thing is that if they had started off on this with this episode, there wouldn't be so much venom, because you wouldn't have known what the characters were or like, and you would just have absorbed them in a normal way. But they made these characters from 1 through 5 to be so out there in unlikability that when it comes down to them actually getting to some serious business on Star Trek, all you thought about was everything that was on 1 through 5. And it had a little bit going on for it. I watched it a second time just to see if I was right about the way I felt about it, because it's the reviews I watched about, I'd say 15 to 20 of our fellow mutuals on YouTube, and they are giving this, it's unanimous. I had to just watch out for all the naturally hateful people that was using all the words that people like to use today. But I just didn't like it. I mean, I like this episode better, but the whole thing has already just tainted and poisoned it from here on out. So, like I said, I was glad they got Sam under control, because that's a irritating young lady. The whole character is just irritating. And it has so many plot holes that you just wouldn't believe. But it's always good to see a Star Trek world, but not in this way. We all, the original Star Trek had some strange shows, and but it was entertaining. This was it was kind of entertaining, but you should have seen the young person that I saw that liked it. She I'm not sure what the young person was. They had blue shading on their eyes like Mr. Spock has, but they were wearing, well, anyway, this young person was really upset with people like me and other people dissing his show. He had made the video. I saw his previous videos where he put just flowers and just love over it and everything. And I thought, wow, this is really a nutty review. And I think something happened to where he must have got a lot of people saying something about it to him or her, and and this poor person was really upset at everybody for not liking his show, because he embraced it so hard, because he's a young person. I mean, I guess if you see it, you see a bunch of young people, you just relate to it. But everybody else that knows anything about science fiction or Star Wars, no, this was not good. This was right up there with, what's that show I watched? The Acolyte on Disney. I couldn't even get into that. It was so much dust out there in the Star Wars world that I just couldn't get into it. Well, I did not mean for this to go too long this time, because I ran it and raved so much the last time. It was about 20 minutes. So I'm back again to let you know I will review the other ones, but I'm looking at other things to review. But I was late on this because I just couldn't bring myself to really just say another bad review about it. But and it's not as bad as the others, but it is really still, you just look at, when you get through watching it, you just kind of go, But maybe they'll build on this on the 7th episode. Well, let me go, and thank you for dropping in. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and we can only hope for better things. Just remember, Paramount has a jewel that they can fix. We're not going to get it till probably 2029, but this lets them know that people are watching, if not just for laughter of it, but really the hurt of it. I mean, so they can, if they put something else out that's good, another show, people will be there. People will be there ready to criticize. People will be there ready to love. And I think more people will be ready to love if they put a little bit more effort into it. And just don't hand over $10 million to somebody and watch them party with it and drunkenly write things and do things. And I say drunkenly not because I know that, it's just because that's the way it feels. And this feels like somebody else came in and wrote this show. I mean, they're just like, it's just that way all the way through these shows. And it's like, wow, But anyway, thanks for dropping in. And have a good day. We'll see you on the next go round.